Okay, so in today's video I have got part 2 of the collector's edition Hogsmeade Harry Potter Lego set. So if you want to see me build part 2, then keep on watching. Okay, so obviously we are on to book 2 now, starting right out with the base plate. So yeah, obviously you can see with this base plate we got, or not with this base plate, with this bag, we got Harry as a minifigure, and then yeah, we was straight into building the bottom of the building basically, and part of the like pathway outside. So again, starting off very similarly to the previous one, obviously a lot of snow on the ground, and yeah, just starting out with the footings for the actual building. And again, like I said in the last one, I feel like this also was a lot shallower than the Diagon Alley shops were. I may be wrong in saying that, but I just feel like they are shallower. But obviously if the first base plate is, then I presume that the second and the third one would be also, which obviously we can see with this one that it does follow the same sort of trend. So yeah, it seems, as you can see, there's sort of like less than half of it as like an actual footing for the building, and the rest of it is like a pathway outside. And I don't actually really know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like it being like that. I do like it obviously because you can build up some extra things outside and you can kind of create a scene with the minifigures a little bit more. But yeah, I do feel like I would maybe prefer have the ratio be the other way around and have sort of like just over half be the actual building, so that obviously we can get as much detail in as we possibly can. But yeah, obviously this is just the way that this set has been done. So this one is actually the biggest one out of all three. So this book was larger, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the piece count on this may be slightly higher, but not sort of too noticeable. But the building itself is definitely bigger, and obviously not any, like, the base plate is still the same size, so obviously in terms of that it's not any bigger, but it's definitely taller. I'm just kind of looking at it now. Obviously while I'm editing this I have it completely built, but the way that I have it displayed, I have the first and the third book together, and then I actually have the middle one that we're doing now, I have that on like a acrylic riser, like shelf, like display type thing. I don't actually know what they're called. I think they are called acrylic risers, but I have it on either one or two of those. I think it might be on two behind. So yeah, it obviously looks even bigger like that, and you will probably see it in the back of some future videos. I do have some sort of pre-recorded at the moment, so it will take a little while for it to kind of show up, but yeah, you may see it in the back of some videos at some point. So yeah, you'll obviously be able to see it completely built and how I have it displayed, which I do actually really like the way I have it displayed. I feel like it makes it look different than just having it all in one line, which obviously if I was going for sort of like how it's supposed to be, then it should be in one line. But yeah, I actually do really like the way that I have it displayed. It also reduces the space as well, because, well, it doesn't, it still uses the same amount of space, but it's just not as long. So obviously it means that basically the cabinet that it's on was actually too short for it. It kind of overhung a little bit. So yeah, that's why I decided to display it the way that I did, but I am actually really happy that it worked out like that, because I think it looks really cool. And obviously if it had fit on the shelf straight away, then I probably wouldn't have even tried to like put it another way. So yeah, obviously all kind of worked out in the end anyway. But yeah, obviously if you hadn't already figured it out, this one is the 3 broomsticks, the pub, I guess you would call it. So yeah, that is the one that we are building now, and I do have to say with this one I feel like there was a lot of repetition. No, obviously sometimes that is unavoidable, and obviously with this one it's unavoidable because one half of the pub is basically the same as the other, but it does just make it sometimes a little bit laborious to build. But But yeah, that's not necessarily a critique, because like I say, you can't really do much about that. It can't be too much different if obviously both sides are ideally going to be the same. But yeah, it kind of just is what it is. But I do actually really like this sign on the front, obviously to represent the 3 broomsticks. I think that looks really cool, and I think that was done in a really sort of clever way. I believe it was similar on the previous one, like the much smaller Hogsmeade set that just had the 3 broomsticks and honeydukes in it. But yeah, I do really like the look of that and how it obviously makes the whole building look at the end. It's actually quite a good focal point. So yeah, I do actually really like the sign. I feel like I'm kind of running out of things to even say about this one, because although this one was obviously the biggest one, the most amount of pages in the book, and yeah, whatever else, I do actually feel like this is the most boring one. Obviously with this base plate only having 1 building on it, I feel like although you would maybe presume that there would be more detail in it, I feel like there actually isn't. And yeah, I kind of feel like this one is actually kind of the most boring one. Obviously you can see inside of it right now, and there isn't really a lot going on. There's kind of like a table to the side and then sort of a kitchen area to the other side, and then I'm currently building now one of the sort of like, I guess, chandelier like lighting things, and we have one of those on both sides, so you can see it sort of hung in there now. And that, to be honest, is probably the most interesting part of this, and when you look from the back, it does actually make it look more interesting than it otherwise would. But yeah, I do tend to kind of feel like this one kind of lacks detail a little bit. That might just be me being a little bit picky, but yeah, I feel like compared to the other ones and compared to sort of like the detailing in Diagon Alley, I feel like this building definitely does lack something. But yeah, I feel like the downstairs portion, that's definitely true for. The upstairs, there's sort of like a little bit more going on, but the downstairs portion doesn't really feel like there's too much going on at all. Obviously you can see here we have a tiny little space here which is being made into a room, which is something that I was critical of in the last one. Obviously there was some roof space that was sort of not really used. I mean, it was pretty small, but I feel like if it had been maybe designed a tiny bit differently, then maybe there could have been a workable roof space. But yeah, obviously in this one, because this one is a little bit bigger and it's a little bit taller, it allowed obviously room to have more rooms and more detail upstairs instead of just having sort of like the downstairs ones. So for example, this room that I'm basically putting in now is like a bathroom, which I feel like that's something that I've not really built in a Harry Potter set before. I'm trying to remember if I have, and I don't really think I have. I think if I have, it would have been in the Burrow, but other than that, I don't think there would have been an occasion where I had built a toilet and a sink. But yeah, I really liked this room. I thought that was actually quite a cute addition. It obviously didn't really need to be put in there, but I like that it has been put in there. And then yeah, obviously the little room in the middle with the desk, and then the room on the left here, which is basically just like with a chair and I guess sort of a TV area. So yeah, I really liked those little details being put in at the top. So yeah, here I believe I'm just sort of like building up the top part. I don't actually fully remember, yeah, the little top bits, but I think the most interesting part of this one was actually the sort of roof panels that go along the front. So there are, you'll see in a moment where those 2 big gaps are. Obviously we have to put something in there, so that is what we are building currently. So there was two big roof panels basically right where I am now. So I believe it was bag 18 had one and then bag 19 had the other. yeah, I believe they were in 2 different bags. But yeah, obviously you can see here just building up sort of the structure for the roof, and then the rest of it was kind of built up with white panels to obviously signify snow. So yeah, that was kind of all put together. But the bit that I kind of found the strangest was how they actually like attached, because normally with something like this there would be something to sort of connect it in place and hold it in place, but with this one there wasn't. It just slots in place and then is held in by a 2 stud by 2 stud little square. It's just held in place by that, and I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, to begin with, I was so confused, because yeah, it literally falls out. Well, if you was to like move it, it falls out really easily, and obviously if you don't have the little 2x2 stud or plate to kind of hold it in, then it would move and fall out really easily. But yeah, I just kind of found it really strange that it wasn't clipped in anywhere, and I was kind of trying to like think if there was a reason why they would have done that, but I don't really know. Obviously you've seen just there, it literally just slides into place, and then that is that. And obviously for this one we have a chimney to build along the side, and then that is basically the end of bag 18, and then on to bag 19, which, like I said, has the other side of the roof in it, which again was very repetitive. It was built a very similar way. It was slightly different to the previous one, so that was good, but obviously there's only kind of so much variation that you can put into these. It was still very, very similar, but yeah, obviously it just comes with building this sort of build. You know, repetition is going to kind of happen, and obviously with it being so large, the repetition is going to feel more noticeable because there's so much more to actually do. But yeah, in the end, obviously it always ends up looking really cool, so it doesn't really matter too much anyway, and yeah, I still carry on buying them and doing them, so quite obviously it doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, obviously at this point it was kind of coming together quite quickly. I felt like this was pretty much like the final thing that needed to be done. Obviously we are only 1 bag away from finishing after this one, so yeah, we was very, very close to finishing at this point. And yeah, the panels, while I was building them, it was very much a trust the process situation, because I was kind of sat there thinking, well, I don't really understand how this is going to end up looking decent or gonna look good, but obviously in the end it does look good, and I think it actually looks really cool. All of the windows kind of push back, so yeah, that is another thing. They don't actually like clip into place like fully, because, well, they do, but you can like pull them out and move them if you really wanted to and whatever else. But yeah, I just kind of felt like it was a little bit strange, like I said, how they don't actually clip in, and the 2 panels that I had on the like entrance area that you can see just there, I had real issues with getting them to actually align properly. Obviously it was all aligned and everything was pushed in correctly, but I had some issues with getting the top points to actually align, which was actually really quite annoying, but that's just kind of a me thing. Most normal people, it probably wouldn't annoy them, or they probably wouldn't even notice it, but unfortunately I do. So yeah, that was a little bit frustrating, but after a little while I managed to get it so that it actually did sit in line and sit correctly how it should do. So yeah, that was all fine in the end, and this last bit that we are doing now is basically the top sort of roof space for the middle of the building. So yeah, the middle of the building goes a fair bit higher than the 2 sides, so yeah, obviously you can see that is the final part that we're doing now. And with this, I actually did have kind of a similar issue with getting the roof to align, but once it all did and I put it together, it ended up looking great, and part 2 was done. So that was part 2 of the collector's edition Harry Potter Hogsmeade Lego set. So make sure to subscribe and come back next week for the final part. But yeah, make sure to also like and comment, and I will see you next time. Bye.